treat. One of my favourite acts on the circuit. To this weekend, I've been looking forward to it for months. I'll be brutally honest with you. You'll see why in a moment. Are you ready for the next act then? Yes! So please put your hands together. Welcome to the stage, Roger Monkhouse.
I think we might have peaked with the optometrist gag. That was very funny. Hello. Okay, all right, we'll build. Welcome to the OK Boomer section of tonight's show. What sort of fuckwit would wear a suit to Brighton? I'm not entirely sure. I'm certainly not blending in, am I? It's the spiritual home of 50-year-old skateboarders. It's fucking terrifying, this town, isn't it? I find it increasingly hard to distinguish between hipsters, drug dealers and the homeless in this town. You just don't know which denomination to proffer. 20 quid, 50p, punch in the face. It's very nice to be here. You know where to buy K, don't you? Look at you, sir, with your tattoos. Aren't you? Reassuringly mature, certainly in this corner. Hello to middle-aged corner over there. That's nice. Quite coupley. That's all right. It's not shocking. The light's not that kind, is it? There's no shame involved. I'm just trying to work out the room. That's all. Quite like the more mature audience. I struggle with the young. How many people here under 25? Thank fuck for that. I think it's perfectly happy that you're in a minority. I'm not having a go. I am having a go. I apologise. What a dispiritingly spineless waste of fucking space your generation is. I'm sorry. I don't know. It's a bit harsh at the beginning. I apologise. I don't know quite why I went so hard there. I'm being bullied in cyberspace. Doesn't exist, for fuck's sake. Man up. Sorry. With your lustrous complexions, your moral certainties, and indeed your fluid non-binary sexualities as well. It's a puzzling world to be a middle-aged man in, isn't it, nowadays? You just don't know who to be creepy around anymore, do you? It's a weird, fucked-up lottery now, isn't it? You see, lesbians used to look like me, I seem to remember. Didn't they? It was a simpler world, and in many ways a better one. And now, it's the prerogative of the young to select your own cultural identities, certainly your sexualities, even your genders on a whim. You'll have an app for it sooner rather than later, won't you? Just cock off, cock on, cock off. That's never going to be technologically possible, but culturally, that's where we're headed. That's the point I'm trying to make there. If it was that easy, we'd all give it a go, wouldn't we? You'd be mad not to. I'm a 54-year-old man. I'd fucking love a go on my own set of female genitalia. I wouldn't lie. It would be a phenomenal learning curve, wouldn't it? I'd be back in hospital within the week, I suspect, for treating it too roughly. And they'd be going, these were new on last Wednesday and they're stretched beyond all recognition. I've gone too far there, I'm sorry. Stop, it's a good heckle, madam. I respect where you're coming from there. You get enough of that at home, don't you? I'm sorry. I had a long car journey on my own this afternoon. I spent a lot of time thinking about it, that's the truth. You're right, I've gone too far. I apologise. But to some extent, this is the world we live in. For better or worse, it's hard to keep tabs on the evolution of culture. My son recently solemnly announced that henceforth he would be self-defining as a transformer, I think he meant. He's only 6, bloody loves them. But too late now, already told the school. Just a silly joke, that was all. I don't know what you're expecting there. Haven't got a son, actually. Not anymore. It's the same joke twice. Thank you. Same joke twice, just trying to work out what flies in the room. Still none the wiser, really. Some appreciation down there. Fucking nothing from over there still. Just reaching for the Prosecco. Very sensible. very, very sensible. Good. I'm aware we're very, very full. Those of you at the back and up in the distance probably staring at me, aren't you, thinking, fuck me, isn't that the bloke that Vladimir Putin probably had poisoned in London 12 years ago? Looking remarkably well under the circumstances, actually. Positively glowing. It's different bloke, obviously. It's just a simple, silly gag, based upon the tragic truth that all. There's enough examples in the room, isn't there? Cruelly illuminated by the lights as well down there. It's like looking into a fucking fractured mirror, isn't it? There, simple, silly gag, based upon the tragic truth that all bald white men look like all other bald white men. That's all that's going on there. You look like me in widescreen, sir. I like to think. No, okay, fair enough. He found it funny. I could outrun him. Relax. If you remove through necessity what turns out to be your only physically defining feature, you're simply left with the same sallow, cadaverous crown. And the reason I say white men, by the way, I'm not being remotely gratuitous when I make that distinction, please rest assured. It simply doesn't work if you're black. If you're black, it's physically impossible to look this ill, apparently. So, lucky black people, you in that one. Audible sense of relief that joke ended as relatively innocently as it did. Did you see that? There's anxiety in the build-up there. And then a huge sense of relief in the payoff. Clearly you've been on diversity awareness days and you're not entirely happy about a middle-aged white skinhead addressing matters of racial identity. Well, fucking back off, 21st century. And I'm not a racist, I just like the look, apparently. Okay, clearly not sure, are you, about that? Wow, genuinely quite anxious. I'll be honest with you, looking around, and Brighton's a diverse place in all sorts of ways, isn't it? But looking around, I don't think I've ever done it in front. In this room, I don't think I've ever done that gag in front of such an ethnically non-diverse group of people. And suddenly it takes on a whole edge, doesn't it? Which no one's entirely. I'm quite in favour of diversity, as it happens. I've got ginger pubes, so there's some sort of second, third generation inheritance, isn't it? There you go. Some sort of Celtic thing going on, so you and I might have more in common than anyone would imagine. Just noise, don't understand what you're saying. I'm sorry. No, this is just social Darwinism, isn't it, really? You can't be a sloppy racist nowadays. People defy your expectations constantly. And I'm not so crass as to equate anyone's ethnicity with their migrant status. The whole thing's become a lot more complicated over the last decade or so, particularly by the Eastern European diaspora. This had better be funny soon, hasn't it? I don't know whether you can feel the pressure ramping up, but I certainly can. How can I put this simply? Clever people move, don't they, when times are tough? It's the dumb fucks what stay where they are. Thus, throughout history, immigration's been the catalyst for all sorts of social and indeed economic benefits and change. That's the Huguenots kick-started the Industrial Revolution. America remains a hub of dynamism, based as it is one wave after successive wave of It's an ambitious subject for comedy, in fairness to me. My point in a nutshell is quite simply this: if you can make it across the English Channel on a Lilo, then fuck it, you've passed the initiative test, haven't you, really? Welcome to the British economy, whilst it lasts. And without the Eastern Europeans, they've been the workforce upon whom we've relied in the southeast over the last decade or so. Their skills base, their work ethic. We've probably got half a dozen. Do we have Eastern Europeans in? Well, you should be out working now. I think I've explained the situation, haven't I? You should be knocking on or something, shouldn't you? You've clearly adopted our slack Anglo-Saxon working practices and started taking nights off on the piss. This is why we're up the creek, isn't it, really? Big fan of the Eastern Europeans. Wherever you're from, I'm enormously impressed by your language skills, your skills base. Eastern Europeans working over here, paying tax over here, most importantly, of course, contributing on a daily basis to our exchequer. Then, of course, tragically, we could no longer afford to keep our northerners in the manner to which they've become accustomed. I thank you. Someone's got to pay for the Sky Sports and Pringles, haven't they? And I tire of being that soldier. Now I detect we've got more northerners in than I'd anticipated. I don't... Perhaps I should have done the research. How many people from the north of England? Whole megabus full of the cunts. Hadn't anticipated that. Welcome, sorry. I've been played for. Welcome from the north of England. You are aware we're not having a meat raffle during the course of tonight's show. I hope. Hope you've not been lured here under false pretences. Fucking love a meat raffle up there, don't they? You been? Seen blood spilt over trays of offal in the northwest. It's extraordinary. There was no horse meat scandal in the north of England, was there? You'll back me up on that, and I commend you for this. Please rest assured. No horse meat scandal in the north of England, because you've got more sense, actually, haven't you? Yeah. The whole horse meat scandal, that was a preposterous bourgeois southern affectation. People in the north of England, and I commend you for this, you don't give a fuck what's in your lasagna, do you? You're just glad you've got a lasagna. I think that's an inspiration. I don't care where you're from. I think we can probably all agree that anyone that ever bought Tesco value burgers on the assumption that they were patties of 100% pure ground beef, cut from prime cuts of organically reared cattle, probably wasn't that far up on the food chain themselves in the grand scheme of things. Hey. And might, in a more sane universe, consider themselves lucky that they and their families weren't being used to bulk out more expensive meat products. Stop me if I go too far. At any point, I have become a lot more opinionated as I've grown older. That happens as you grow older. You'll back me up on that, won't you? Staten and Waldorf from the Muppet Show down there growling at me. It happens. Middle-aged men, quite curmudgeonly. We quite enjoy being curmudgeonly. You see, the young accuse middle-aged men of being grumpy and joyless. That's not actually true. Transparently, we have lost the muscular ability to demonstrate joy, but that's just, broadly speaking, a physical thing. Inwardly, very happy, aren't we? Nothing brings me down. Trump, Brexit, bring it on. I've got an allotment, for fuck's sake. And a whole cupboard full of tin soup. I'm practically invulnerable, as far as I can see. My hobbies now include tutting at young people in the street, shouting at the television news, picking up litter on my own road like an angry, self-righteous tramp, leaving my indicator on to piss off other road users. That's fun, isn't it? Oh, you love that. They hilariously imagine it's accidental. And looking for my reading glasses. That's an average day. I spend a lot of my time pottering around the house developing half-baked crackpot right-wing theories about all sorts of nonsense and having arguments in my head with people I've never even met before. Sometimes, as a bit of a treat on days off, I buy shit from Halfords just so I can take it back and shout at someone on minimum wage. I know that's wrong. Clearly that's wrong. But in fairness to me, I've tried it at John Lewis, and apparently they train them there for such eventualities, and there's relatively little fun to be had. Just pandering to the predominantly middle-class sensibility of the room there. And John Lewis gets a bit of a smug chuckle, doesn't it? I should explain to the people from the north that John Lewis is a shop. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You probably wouldn't like it, really. They wouldn't let you in. I'm just. So I said Trump, Brexit. I don't know where you stand. It's very hard to take these things seriously as you grow older, isn't it? I quite enjoy the Donald, if I'm perfectly honest. I know you shouldn't, but I quite enjoy the Donald. I think we all remember how dull the world was when Piety Obama was in charge, being condescending, plausible, and articulate. Now, with crazy Grandpa Simpson in the Oval Office, fucking anything's possible, isn't it? War with Mars, the criminalisation of cheese. It's like watching a descent into full-on senile dementia chronicled by the beautifully, quintessentially contemporary medium of Twitter. We are days away from seeing the leader of the free world led away from a press conference dressed in Spider-Man pyjamas, drinking Ben and Jerry's out of a it's wonderful, isn't it? It's a glorious time to be alive. As for Brexit, who here wouldn't want a second referendum? Bloody love the first one. I haven't had to talk to half my family since 2016. It's been fucking bliss, hasn't it? Bliss! Any questions at all? I've come on, a little bit curmudgeonly. What was that, sir? What have I got? I think you might be mistaking this for a drug deal, sir. Sanatogen. Nothing that you ask him. I said I didn't have a son. I do. How old are you, madam? You said you're under 25. How old are you?
I'm 25 on the dot.
25 on the dot. Oh, it matters, doesn't it, at that age? It's all right. I find George. My son's 20, 25. I said I didn't have a son, but I was fucking with you at that point. I do. I see him rarely. It's a blessing for everyone. Christmas and Easter nowadays. When we do talk, I find he lectures me upon my lifestyle, as your generation is wont to do, with all due respect, madam. I'm personally responsible for global warming, according to him. And he can fuck off, as far as I'm concerned. I'm not saying it's not happening. Clearly something's going on out there. I'm not so brave as to swim against the tide of liberal orthodoxy. And it's entirely appropriate that you should care, that the young generally should care, because, of course, God help you, it will impact upon your generation, and I sincerely apologise for the environmental degradation and the hardship that you will necessarily endure in the second half of your lives. On our behalf, gentlemen, I've done the maths, and clearly, by the time the shit really hits the fan, we'll be dead. Consequently, I don't think it's utterly unreasonable of me to look forward to a bit of nice weather before I shuffle off this mortal coil. I've oversimplified the issue, I know, but I think we all know there's people in Scotland fucking praying for global warming just to get through another year. I have oversimplified. The people in the north, of course, will know. You see, it's been wet down here, but up in the north, it's been fucking biblical, hasn't it, up there? But then there is more sin, in my experience, kind of. And if you live in a village called Fish Lake, I think you might reasonably expect a bit of seasonal flooding. Forgive me, it's been... You're more sympathetic than me, I apologise. My daughter as well, she's the young. Most of you have got children, I'm assuming. How many people have got children? There you go, there's a bit of joy as well in that. That's not yours will be young, madam, I'm assuming. How old are yours?
4 and 8.
4 and 8, well, that's all right, they're quite sweet. Because on behalf of the older parents, allow me to explain, if you think they're not sweet now, madam, you fucking wait. Isn't that true? Children bring joy and glory and love into your life for approximately 10 years. Then they're cunts. That's when it happens. That's when it starts, madam. Just fucking wait. Wow. Even worse, they're monstrously distorted versions of everything you hate about yourself as well. That makes it all the more psychologically traumatising. You got boys or girls? Both girls. Oh, fucking good luck. Isn't it? You see, boys are all right because they're all vaguely on the spectrum. So you can just lock them up in a room with a PlayStation and know they'll come out the other side. Girls, hormonally charged little demons, terrifying. Monstrous. Mine's 10. She's just on the cusp. She's losing cuteness by the day. We've probably been on our last functional family holiday, I'm kind of assuming. Which I don't mind. No more fucking weeks in fields in Wales under canvas. That's a shit. Because you see, when you're a parent, you're skint. That's the problem there, isn't it? It's an appalling English attempt at having a fucking holiday, isn't it? When you really should just... living like a refugee, for fuck's sake, listening to the pissing rain 6 inches above your head. What the fuck? I've got quite a nice house. What the fuck am I doing in a field in Wales in a tent? Anyway, that wasn't what I meant to say. My daughter, and I should probably leave you with this, has just become challenging for the first time in the way that children do. All children roughly, 8, 9, 10, actually. It's a universal developmental stage. They all become a little bit obsessed with the joke format, the formula of a joke, the rhythm of a joke without actually understanding what's genuinely funny. It's enormously tedious, but... But obviously, as a parent, you're very much obliged to indulge them because it's rude and aggressive in any social circumstances to tell someone that what they just said's not funny. Whatever, forgiven now. So, my daughter... No, still nothing. My daughter... Look this way. My daughter... She comes back from school, she goes, Daddy, and I go, yes, and she goes, why did the chicken cross the road? And I go, oh, I don't know, why did the chicken cross the road? And she goes, to get to the idiot's house. And I go, ha ha ha, to get to the idiot's house, that's very funny, well done. And then she goes, Daddy, and I go, yes, and she goes, knock knock, and I go, who's there? And she goes, the chicken. Off. Ladies and gentlemen, you've got a wonderful closing act. Thank you very much for the time we spent. My name's Roger Monkhouse. Good night to you.
Excellent. Right, another interval. Back off that with our final act, but can we hear it one more time, please, for Roger Monkhouse?